like the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Ryan Newman finds victory lane for the first time since 2013, and Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott dominate fantasy points from Phoenix. Welcome to the Inside Line. This is Robbie Mays. I'm Tyler Burnett. We're here to talk fantasy racing as we do each and every week. Robbie, your takeaways leaving the Valley of the Sun. We probably heard that a lot on Sunday.
I'm not talking to you.
Why?
You're a traitor.
What are you talking about?
I saw you on Crew Call this week. You're a traitor.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I was tired of them talking crap about how our fantasy, our game is not, is better, not better than theirs. And I wanted to show them that I could win all the games.
I thought we agree collectively that we're boycotting that show.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Just tell me your fantasy advice from Phoenix.
Okay.
Or your thoughts.
My thoughts from Phoenix. Number one, put on sunscreen. Number two, if that sunscreen gets washed away by sweat during pre-race on Sunday, put on more sunscreen so you don't end up looking like I do. I thought the entire weekend, Tyler, from start to finish was really interesting. We saw some guys on Friday in practice show some speed that we hadn't seen in a while. We saw some guys not show some speed that we thought they were going to. And in the end, it was Ryan Newman who stole that win away from a lot of people, including Kyle Busch, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But overall, I thought the weekend was very intriguing. I thought the Xfinity race on Saturday was probably one of the best Xfinity races I've seen in a long time. And then Sunday's Cup race was a question right up until the very end. So I was really happy with what I saw in Phoenix this weekend.
Yeah, I thought one of the most interesting tweets I saw was from Jeff Gluck, who was on our show 2 weeks ago. And we were getting down to the end of the race with Kyle Busch, pretty much dominating the end of the race. And he says it's beyond the point of Kyle Busch having an okay day.
Yeah.
He was either going to have a great day and win the race,
or he was going to be
so mad because something wasn't going to go right at the end of that race. And I thought that was a great way to put it.
Yeah. So, like I said, overall, I thought the weekend was interesting. I thought the stages played out pretty intriguing, especially with some pit strategy there, and in the end of the race, without four tires would win, but apparently no tires won.
Yeah, no question. We have Winston Kelley coming up on the show today, Executive Director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He's also the lead pit reporter here at the Motor Racing Network. We'll have Robbie's in mind, our three surprises leaving the Phoenix Raceway.
Might have a theme.
Yeah, and mine might just be some surprises.
Okay.
So you never know. Under the Rock, what else is coming up today? Rango Fowler. The fantasy chicken, and
yes.
he clobbered me last week.
Oh, and my Gamecocks are still in the NCAA tournament, and your Irish have been knocked out for like a week.
Let's go to the break. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
O'Reilly. If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Today, Toyota's featured NASCAR fan is Dr. Tom Pierce.
So, Dr. Tom, what's your claim to fame?
Well, due to all of Toyota's NASCAR wins last year, I wrote thousands of doctor's notes for fans for overexcitement hypertension, a condition that requires a day off work to rest.
Sounds like a responsible doctor.
Doctor? I'm not a real doctor, bro. Would a doctor get a guy off work for overexcitement about the new Camry? Because I did.
Let's go NASCAR fans.
Toyota, let's go places. To learn more, visit toyotaracing.com. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Danica Patrick to the front of the field at Talladega. They are side by side behind her. Jimmy Johnson.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Show. We've been expecting you. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Coming up at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Cup Series practice. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series will be practicing. And then, of course, qualifying at 7 p.m. Eastern Time this evening. I guess it'd be afternoon at the Auto Club Speedway, but evening for anyone who's here on the West Coast. Sunday, of course, the pre-race will start at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the Auto Club 400. Robbie, we were discussing a little bit about what happened at Phoenix, and of course we're going to start transitioning to the Auto Club Speedway here in a second to talk about, our fantasy starts, fantasy wisdom that Robbie's going to bring you heading to the Auto Club Speedway. But first, your 3 surprises leaving Phoenix Raceway.
Okay, well, I teased it earlier. My 3 surprises leaving Phoenix, they all have a common theme, and they all revolve around that last caution on Sunday afternoon. My first surprise leaving Phoenix last weekend, Kyle Busch. And after a week of making the headlines for the wrong reasons, I felt Kyle went out on Sunday and made a point. Normally when he's in a bad mood, it shows on the racetrack. And I'm being critical of Kyle there, and I know that. But normally when he's in a bad mood, he does not have a good race car. He finds something wrong with the car, and he just doesn't finish well. Sunday afternoon, he went out and led the majority of the race in the second half of the race after stage 2. Had a chance to win until that last caution. Ironically, it was Joey Logano's tire that blew that took him out of the chance to win at the end of the race on Sunday afternoon. But my biggest surprise was the way Kyle Busch handled himself on and off the racetrack all weekend. Finished 3rd, didn't get the win, but he came awfully close to going to victory lane.
And he got a lot of fantasy points. He was number 1 in fantasy points last week. My biggest surprise is actually his brother, so that's interesting that you bring that up. Kurt Busch. Since winning the Daytona 500 and finishing 7th at Atlanta, Kurt and the 41 team have finished 30th and have finished 25th and have changed pretty close to 12 batteries,
yeah.
I think. It was 7 last week, and I'm not sure how many it was the week before, but I know it was a can of Sunoco fuel, 4 tires, and a change of a battery every single pit stop.
And that's why Steve Post called it all day, too.
So voltage issues continue to hinder, the 41 team. I have to think that they have that figured out. I mean, they had to have stripped the car down this week, figured out what's going on with that car. He's good at the Auto Club Speedway, so in my opinion, if he's running well, he could be a potential good start this week at Auto Club Speedway, but you never know if they got the voltage problems figured out. So he's my number 1 surprise.
I feel like Tony Gibson right now is taking their car for Auto Club apart and putting it back together for about the 3rd or 4th time.
And the thing is, it was 2 different cars.
Yes.
So the car at Las Vegas was different than the one he took to Phoenix,
right.
And there's still the same problem. And it's not happening on any other Ford car either. I mean, it's not happening for Kevin Harvick. It's not even happening for like a Penske car.
We saw some battery issues in Atlanta for the children's cars, but that was a one-time thing. We haven't seen it since. So there's something definitely going on.
All right, your number 2.
My number 2 surprise, Kyle Larson. 2nd again for Kyle Larson. It's amazing to me that he's had a chance to win the last 5 Cup races going back to the end of 2016. The chips are going to fall where they will, but I'm surprised that he has put himself in position for the last 4 races to start this season to be able to win races. We've seen guys in the past finish 2nd a bunch of times before they finally got to victory lane, and then once they got there, they blew the doors off victory lane. So I think Kyle Larson, they're this close, but once they figure out that much left, they're going to be in victory lane a lot this year.
Definitely, and you definitely want to think about him on your fantasy team this week at the Auto Club Speedway. His home racetrack, he is very good at that track. Finished 2nd 3 years ago to Kyle Busch. He'll be a great pick. I'm going to lump my next 2 surprises together because they're pretty much the same guys. Okay, so Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is my 2nd surprise. He finished 6th in fantasy points. He finished 4th in the race at Phoenix. Of course, it was a late call to stay out on tires that got him that 4th place finish. And then Ryan Newman is my 3rd surprise. Winning the race, I mean, how can you not be surprised? Look, you asked me Sunday, or you even asked me before this year, who's going to win the race on Sunday, or who's going to have a win this year and make the playoffs. I'm sorry, but Ryan Newman wasn't going to be on that list as far as guys who would have won a race this year, in my opinion, unless it took something like this to happen.
Yeah, and my final surprise is Daniel Suarez, and he was the other recipient of good news following that last caution. I wrote him off early in the weekend. He had problems during practice on Saturday. He crashed during the Xfinity race on Saturday. I said, no way he's going to get you a top 10 on Sunday in the Cup race, and boy, was I wrong. He did get you a top 10, his first career top 10. Congratulations, Daniel, on that. Going forward, I don't know. I still want to see more of what this kid can do in a Cup car. Yeah, I thought about putting him on my team Sunday for about 5 minutes, and then after I saw all the issues he had on the weekend, I was like, heck no. So good job, Daniel.
All right, so we threw out, 6 guys right there to talk about heading to the Auto Club Speedway. Robbie, your number one starts. Who do you think you have to start at Auto Club Speedway this week?
I think you got to start Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
I really do. I think he's got 5 top 5s in the last 10 races. He won last year starting in 19th. Didn't have the best season going into last year's race either, and he went out and won the thing. 6-time winner at Auto Club Speedway, the most in the track history. He's from California. He's got the one of the best 10-race average. He's got one of the best driver ratings. So I think Jimmy Johnson is a must-start anytime we go to Auto Club Speedway.
Kevin Harvick's on the expensive end as well, but you mentioned Jimmy Johnson, who won this race the last time we were there in the spring. Kevin Harvick had the best car that day.
Sure.
And it came to a late pit stop, as it always does with Chad Canals, Jimmy Johnson. They're smart guys. They know how to win races at the end of the race. To me, I think you compare Atlanta to Auto Club Speedway as far as the track. Worn out, you're going to have brand new tires every time you come down pit road. Kevin Harvick was the best car at Atlanta. He was the best car the last time we were at Auto Club Speedway. I think he's probably your number one starter this week.
Well, I've got Harvick on my team as well, Tyler, but last week at Phoenix, they didn't have the best speed. They got a lot of passing points. They didn't lead a lap. But I think either Johnson or Harvick, they're both right around the same price range. Both of those guys could be good pickups this weekend.
If you look at Atlanta, and I compared it to Auto Club a little bit, though the tracks are completely different, but they're worn out.
They're both worn out.
Chase Elliott, I think, would be a good start this week at Auto Club. He's been great, this year. He's been great at big tracks like this, intermediate fast tracks. 6th in his Cup debut at the Auto Club Speedway last year. I think Kyle Larson is a no-brainer. I mean, 3 second-place finishes in a row now?
Yeah.
He's good at the Auto Club Speedway.
He's
as an Xfinity wins. Yep.
Yeah.
And he'd be a good start. And I think my sleeper pick this week is Paul Menard.
Okay.
He has the best average finish in the last 3 races at 9th out of all the active drivers. So that could be a good sleeper pick.
I like the Paul Menard pick. I'm going to throw out Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s name this weekend. He's gotten progressively better here the last few years at Auto Club Speedway. And I also like Clint Boyer as well.
Those are the guys you can look at this week at the Auto Club Speedway. We'll ask who else Winston Kelley thinks we should start this week. He's the executive director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He's also the lead pit reporter for the Motor Racing Network. We'll talk to him next here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show.
O'Reilly.
If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
MRN's Throwback Thursday, the greatest races in NASCAR history.
Richard Petty comes to the outside of Benny Parsons, and ladies and gentlemen, it will be Richard Petty victorious in the STP Dodge.
Listen Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on MRN.com or the MRN app.
And Dale Earnhardt has won the Daytona 500.
On demand in the MRN.com Media Center or on iTunes and Google Play.
Jeff Gordon wins the Southern 500 and the Winston Noble $5 million bonus.
Throwback Thursday on MRN.com.
We now return to the Inside Line with Robbie and Tyler.
We want to let you all know that STP Week is coming up next week here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show and throughout all of our MRN.com programming throughout the week. STP help keep stored fuel fresh with STP Ultra 5-in-1 Plus Fuel System Cleaner and a Fuel Stabilizer. That's STP. So, Robbie, we bring on Winston Kelley now to talk about fantasy picks heading to the Auto Club Speedway. Of course, Winston is the executive director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He's also our lead pit reporter. He's heading out to the Auto Club Speedway this week. Winston, how are you doing this week, man? It's good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you guys. Doing great. Speaking of STP, just opened a new Petty exhibit. Got one of the STP Buicks, actually, that Richard won his 7th Daytona 500. And just learned yesterday that STP is going to be filming something here next week, I think with the King and Dale Inman and some folks. So it's good to be on with you guys.
Yeah, it's great.
Very cool. Winston, we're going to Auto Club Speedway this weekend. It's the 20th year that we've been racing at the Auto Club Speedway, which I think is hard to believe. Over the years, we've seen a lot of guys dominate this place. Jeff Gordon in the 90s, Recently, it's been Jimmy Johnson, and I talked about Jimmy Johnson a little while ago. He's my number one pick heading into the weekend. Despite the fact that they have struggled at times this year, they finally got their first top 10 at Phoenix last Sunday afternoon. What do you think about Jimmy Johnson going back-to-back here at Auto Club Speedway on Sunday?
Well, I think it depends on which fantasy racing that you're looking at. You know, when I look at Yahoo, which I do more of than NASCAR.com, at least of late, while he did win last year, you know, I've got to look at guys like Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch who've been more consistently up front and running well, not just this year, but in recent years. While it's hard to pick against Jimmy Johnson at the at Auto Club Speedway, you know, he was not that good until toward the end of the race last year. So he's not a bad pick, but he wouldn't be at my top of the list for those higher cost picks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things I mentioned. Kevin Harvick probably was the best car at the Auto Club Speedway the last time we were there. He was also the best car we saw at Atlanta, and I mentioned this in the last segment. Worn out tires at Atlanta. You're going to see worn out tires this weekend at Auto Club. Is that the track you most compare Auto Club Speedway to right now, at least to the ones that we've went to? And then, of course, what track would you compare in the schedule to Auto Club Speedway that maybe you can look after for your fantasy team?
You know, when I've asked crew chiefs that, why they say that it looks like and it was designed around the Michigan International Speedway, it doesn't race like it. Similarly with Atlanta, there are characteristics, like you said, with the worn-out tires that I think is transferable, but it races very different. But, you know, in addition to Kevin finishing second the last couple of years out there, how strong that car was at Atlanta, I think that's indicative. Same thing with Kyle Busch last weekend. You know, they slip and slide a lot, 95 degrees at Phoenix. And Kyle with a third, a second, and a couple of wins in the last 5 races. You know, those are a couple of guys that I look for. So the slipping and sliding, whether it's at a Phoenix, even though it's a shorter track, and the worn-out track at Atlanta and Auto Club, I think there are some comparables there to look at. And, you know, I heard you guys talking about Kyle Larson. You know, I have to agree. Until he gets knocked off that pedestal,
yeah,
he is a good pick. Auto Club is a track that you can run all different kind of lines, and he particularly likes that high line. So, you know, I like him as a pick as well this weekend.
Definitely.
Yeah, and Pete Pistone on MRN.com this week actually has Kyle Larson at the top of the power rankings, which I totally agree with at this point. Winston, last week at Phoenix, we saw Kyle Busch kind of, you know, make a statement, which we haven't really seen Joe Gibbs drivers do much of this year. Obviously, Truex won at Las Vegas the week before. He's a Gibbs-affiliated car. But I've been surprised at how lackluster the Joe Gibbs cars have been this year. Should we worry about that? Is it too early to tell? Are they still adapting to the new rules? What do you think about the Gibbs cars in 2017 so far?
If I had to ask, and granted, I have not been at the racetrack since Daytona, which is a completely different animal, so I'm going to defer my opinion for sure until I talk to the crew chiefs, but I would have to suspect that it's the last thing that you said, that every year that we go through rules changes, some teams hit it right off the bat for whatever reasons, and some teams don't hit it as quickly in the balance of the race car, and, you know, they will catch up with it. You've got good drivers. You've got great equipment, so I think they will catch up with it, and that was just an indication that they're making progress. We've seen it in the past with a Jeff Gordon at times, you know, who is a future Hall of Famer. We've seen it with Jimmy Johnson, and we've seen it with others throughout their career, that those changes can impact, you know, the comfort that they've had and the speed they've had in the car. So I think it's that, and I would not be worried at all if I were a Joe Gibbs Racing fan.
Definitely. Chatting with Winston Kelley, of course, the lead pit reporter for the Motor Racing Network, executive director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It's fun to have Winston on because he necessarily doesn't play NASCAR Fantasy Live as much as he plays other fantasy leagues, for instance, Yahoo. And I know that we have some DraftKings players. We have others' perspectives. So, Winston, when you're picking your team this week, for instance, you're picking a Yahoo, you have to kind of keep guys for the long haul, right? You have to save guys throughout the year. So how do you go about picking your team this week?
That's the biggest difference, and I played both last year, Yahoo and NASCAR.com, and, you know, just you can pick on NASCAR.com, you know, you can use the same guys over and over and over again. You've got 9 that you can use throughout the year. Your A group is never a concern because you're always going to have plenty of strong candidates. The C group this year, interestingly, of the 36 picks that you've got throughout the year, you've got Ty Dillon, Daniel Suarez, and Eric Jones, so you've got 9 others that you need to use, the David Reagans and Landon Castles throughout the year, but you don't want to get too far behind, which, I've had 2 really good weeks and 2 really bad weeks, so I've got some catching up to do. The B group seems to be a little bit more of a challenge this year, so, in trying to balance out those picks, Jamie McMurray is in that B group, and he's been pretty competitive. Casey Kane ran a whole lot better this past weekend than what he finished. Ryan Blaney has been very strong, and of course Ryan Newman. Not a lot of people picked him last weekend, so we're starting to see some emergence of drivers. But I'm starting out looking at guys like Kyle Larson, Jamie McMurray, Ryan Blaney. I expect to run good this weekend, and Clint Boyer has been solid since Daytona with top 10s, and I think his worst finish since Daytona is 13th. So those are some guys when you're looking at allocation that should run good as the year goes on.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah, I like the Clint Boyer pick too, Winston. All right, time to put you on the spot like we do every time we have you on the show. Who goes to victory lane on Sunday?
I'm going to have to go with Kevin Harvick. With Kyle Larson, maybe another second-place finish. if Kyle Larson is not racing Kevin Harvick, I think he may can beat him. I'm not sure he can beat the closer, but if Harvick has the car set up and Rodney Childers gets the car under him like they did at Atlanta, if I have to pick one guy for that Coca-Cola that we're going to bet for, got to go with Kevin Harvick and a strong second to Kyle Larson.
Coca-Cola? I thought we were betting beer in this thing. What?
Well, yeah, we'll do both.
Wow. All right,
Very
Winston,
cool.
Thanks so much for coming on. That's a great pick with Harvick, and we'll see you out there on the West Coast this week.
Always a pleasure, guys. Have a great day.
All right, Winston Kelley, everyone, the leader pit reporter for the Motor Racing Network, also executive director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Check out the Hall of Fame. It's great. Downtown Charlotte, everything you need to know. I can go there and spend an entire day there.
I got to go see this Petty exhibit.
It's cool.
I'm looking forward to that.
I like the smoke exhibit they had a couple weeks ago. All right. More coming up here on the Inside Line. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
O'Reilly.
If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you or your family love the freedom of swimming any time of year, if you love sharing good times and making great memories, or if you want one of the best total body workouts ever, then it's time to discover the 3 C's of your very own endless pool. The first C is convenience. Imagine swimming year-round in your own private swimming pool, installed indoors or out, just steps away. The second C is comfort. With sculpted spa seats and your own adjustable temperature, you can easily escape the stress of your day. And the third C is cost. Your endless pool is an affordable luxury at a fraction of the cost of a regular pool. And here's a bonus C, choice. Because when you call for your free Endless Pool Idea Kit, you'll receive information on our full line of pools to suit your budget and location.
Call now for free information. 800-283-8089. 800-283-8089.
Want to pop a question or tell us about your fantasy lineup? Give me a call at 8444-ASK-MRN, and you may get exposed on next week's show. We can't wait to hear from you. Now back to those naughty boys on the Inside Line.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Robbie Mays. He is under a rock, and we're going to play that game here in just a second. But I want to go back to it again. You are a trader. I'm not talking to you anymore because you were on Crew Call this week, and they claim that's the #1 rated game show on this network, which I know is false.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go on there. And I wanted to prove, okay, maybe I don't know pop culture as much as everyone else, especially pop culture from 90 years ago, but I can get close to the numbers. I mean, you don't even have to get things right, and Kid Cruz gets to win. That's just not even right.
Let's play Under a Rock or Tyler.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
So now that I've essentially won 2 in a row because, oh no, okay, so
No,
there was one where I
won 1 in a row.
No, the Independence Day one I should have gotten right.
I make the rules. You've only won once this year.
Let's go.
This is a song.
Oh.
I need the
I've
artist
lost already.
I need the artist name. He's been in the news recently, so you should get this.
He's in the news.
Let's cue it up.
Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go.
It's a very famous song, famous artist.
I've heard the song before.
You have no idea though, do you?
I'm not even gonna try.
That was
Wow.
That was Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry, who passed away last weekend.
Yeah, I don't know.
At the age of 90. Chuck Berry, one of my favorite songs.
I did hear that he passed away,
Yes.
and my condolences to his family.
Yes.
But I have never known that man in my life.
Chuck Berry, Johnny Be Good, part of one of the greatest movies of all time, Back to the Future. That song was in it.
I've never seen that movie.
And his cousin Marvin Berry. Let's play Rango.
Back to the Future. I have never seen Back to the Future. Well, Rango did beat me pretty bad last week. I'll just put it that way. The chicken outclassed me at the Phoenix Raceway, and that was due in part to nearly everyone I started on my fantasy team was at the Care Center.
Yeah.
At the end of the race.
I'm sure they all appreciate you picking them.
Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson, Jamie McMurray, Clint Boyer, David Reagan, Joey Logano, and Ford is his manufacturer. So he has Joey Logano to win the race this week. Who's your winner to win at the Auto Club Speedway?
My winner to win at the Auto Club Speedway, I'm going back to it again, 42, Kyle Larson.
You keep jinxing him. Why do you keep picking him when you know that it's just he's going to win when you stop picking him?
I know. I'll ride that train one more week.
All right, so Kevin Harvick from Winston, Joey Logano from Rango. You have the 42.
I do.
I guess I will go out on a limb, and I will say Chase Elliott visits victory lane for the first time in his career Sunday in the Auto Club 400. What do you think of that?
I think you just jinxed him.
Probably, and when I put him on my fantasy team this week, he will probably not make it to the finish line. Let's just put it that way, because that's been my luck recently.
Okay.
With drivers. I mean, I had Kenseth last week. I had Joey Logano last week. Both of those guys had bead problems. Who else did I have? I even had Cole Witt. Like,
and he had
among the guys that you pick in the back of the field,
yeah.
Cole Witt has been running pretty well of late, and he hit the wall last week too.
Times. Yeah.
So if I wanted to go say hi to my fantasy team, I could have just went to the Care Center and been like, "Yo, what's up?" All right, what's your final thoughts here before we close this thing out?
I am looking forward to going to Auto Club Speedway this weekend. The weather is supposed to be a little bit cooler than it was last weekend in Phoenix, so I'm looking forward to getting out there and getting everything going for the Auto Club 400 this weekend. And next week, I'm excited because it's STP week and we're going to Martinsville.
So tune in, Sunday for Alex Hayden? You can have a Facebook Live?
We'll go live Facebook Live Sunday morning like we did last week.
All right, the Auto Club 400, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. Coming up soon, 1:30 p.m., it's practice here on MRN.com. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. We'll talk to you next week as we head to the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia.
You've been listening to the Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.